So Ray, tell us about this. So it's not just about business, this particular book,
Correct.
but you're also dealing with money and you're dealing with relationships.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a question about that. Is that if you were to give us 3 steps from your book that can help us today to prosper in all areas of our life, financially, job, and relationships, give me 3 little points that can help us today. 3 steps.
Yeah. So one is to embrace the concept that you can have a good life despite having a bad past, and included in that, you can inspire people that that have similar situations that you overcame or survived.
Yes.
And so, in the book, I talk about some of the abuse I went through as a kid, and I have, so many messages. I mean, it's a, fairly new book, but I have a lot of messages from people that were, that it really helped, to share with them, what I had gone through and how I came out on the other side and survived that and been able to create what would some call an inspiring life.
Yes.
Number 2 would be that money is a force for good, and it can be a force for good. You can only donate so much of your time. You can only spend so much time at the soup kitchen. You eventually have to pay your bills. You eventually have to work, right? We all do. And so, but with more capital and with more resources, you're able to make a bigger difference. And
Yes.
That doesn't mean if you don't have capital that you're bad or something like that, but it means that despite what societal conditions are attempting to get you to believe, with more money, you can do more good. Your poverty is serving no one. You being broke is not virtuous. It's not a good morality. It's you making more money allows you to do more good. It allows you to help out your favorite charity. It allows you to help out, family members if that's, what you
Yes.
want to do, or your favorite church or whatever floats your boat. And so that's a big part of the book is changing your relationship with money, and that it's not being greedy to have more. It allows you to do more. So that would be number 2. And number 3, I would say, we break down every rule has an action step. And so the one that we've gotten the most feedback on is rule number 2, which is called pluck your weeds.
Okay.
Pluck your weeds. It doesn't, I think I've heard some people think that means just cutting out negative people out of your life. It might, right? That might be a part of it. But it's really looking at your life and identifying any area that is incongruent with who you want to be. And I'll share, if I can, I got a quick little story. So I'll give you an example of a weed that I plucked. All right. My wife and I, we were at a charity function, and we're on the board for a couple different, charities, and we love it. And we were at a charity auction, and someone came up to me at first, and then she joined me and said, "Hey, did you see the Belize trip?" And no, what's a Belize trip? Oh man, the Belize trip. It's 5 couples only. It's a private jet, private yacht, private chef, private island. Oh man, this sounds amazing. And my wife is like, "Ooh," she's fired up. She's excited. Me, that sounds like hell. I mean, that sounds like the last thing on the planet that I want to do. And I didn't say anything because I don't want to be the fuddy duddy. I don't want to be the, whatever. And so, but on the way home, I'm like, I'm driving home and I'm like, man, what's wrong with me? Like, I want to be a good husband. I want my wife, I want to earn my relationship with her every single day. I'm not going to take it for granted. And I want to be a great husband. What the hell's wrong with me, man? I realized I should be excited about that, but I definitely wasn't. I was, like I would do anything. Right. And so I decided to pluck that weed, and I decided to dive into it and find out what caused that reaction. And I got some help. I had a mindset coach that helped me. He's a hypnotist, and he helped me connect the dots backwards of what created my social anxiety, because I've suffered with social anxiety for quite a few years. I can speak on stage in front of 20,000 people, no problem. But you want to talk off stage, that's where I got to go to my room. And so it turns out and I didn't even remember this, but through hypnosis was able to recall in the 3rd grade, my 3rd grade teacher had me knew something was off, like something was going on, and had me start meeting with the guidance counselor. I start meeting with the guidance counselor, and I start to open up. I start to share some things that are going on at home. There were days during the summer where I'm going to school with a turtleneck because the claw marks in my neck are so deep.
Yeah.
There's, me having to tell people I ran into a wall and things like that. And so I share, these stories with this guidance counselor, and it felt nice. And then one day I show up, and it's my dad, my stepmom, and her, and she proceeds to tell every story I've ever shared with her because she thought they were too outrageous and that I was really just looking for attention. That's the day I stopped trusting anybody. That's the day that everyone from that day forward was distance to me, and I didn't want to be connected because I didn't want to be hurt like that. And so now that I've addressed that and plucked that weed and I understand it, I can make a different choice. And so that has helped me get over my social anxiety.
Ray, that is amazing. I don't know that about your life.
Yeah.
So when you look at plucking weeds, okay, what are a couple negative things that weeds in our life will do to us?
Well, I mean, they'll keep you from who you really want to be. For example, I remember with our second child, together, I remember peeking in on Jess one night, and she's just exhausted. And I'm like, babe, we're not broke, right? We need to get you some help, man. Let's help you out. And, one of the things that one of my mentors told me, who passed away, Mark Overson, is, he said, listen, your kids aren't going to remember who folded the laundry. They're not going to remember who did the dishes, right? Get help, right? You don't have to be the exhausted, parent that does everything because that's what your parents did for you or that's what you observed. And so it'll just make you less of who you want to be. And so identifying those weeds of how can I be congruent with who the future version of myself, as Joe Dispenza says, right? The future version of myself, how do I grow into that person and what is incongruent with that? And sometimes that's, not having a tough conversation. There was a time where, Jess and I would argue about money, and we talk about it in the book, but we would argue about money, and because we both were coming from two very different worlds. I seek personal freedom. She watched her mom make a lot of money and then lose it all. So she's fighting a different paradigm than I'm fighting. I'm fighting for personal freedom. She's fighting to preserve, right? And so that caused a lot of clashes that created a lot of anxiety that didn't need to be there. And so sometimes plucking the weed is having the tough conversation that you may not want to have, but resentment never shrinks unless it's discussed. It only grows and infects other areas of your life.
I love that. Ray, can you hold up the book again, please?
Yeah, again, I think it's backwards, but
it's backwards.
Time, Money, Freedom.
They get it. And Ray, how can they get it? Because a lot of people are going to get it like right now.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, easiest is just tmfbook.com. That stands for Time, Money, Freedom.
Can somebody who's part of his team or somebody who's watching is connected to him, can you put that in the chat, as they say?
So tmfbook.com for timemoneyfreedombook.com. And, I did share that, I now coach a lot, or we coach a lot of network marketers. It actually isn't a network marketing book. I do edify network marketing because I'm very grateful, it changed my life. But it really is it's for the person that wants to improve their finances and their relationships. And I really believe it'll help. If I can, I'll give one more quick story. This will be quicker. The rule number 10 is make an impact. And in make an impact, because, at some point if you keep on this journey, right, with you and other great mentors, at some point you're going to acquire plenty, right? Yeah. And you'll make plenty. You'll get the cars and the houses and the whatever else's. And so, impact is the thing that will keep you showing up and growing and excited for life. And so in Make an Impact, I talk about the importance of structuring your career in a manner that has you think about that. And one of the stories that we share, and I'm just so proud of her, is a lady named Renee Adams. Renee Adams was one of the contestants on our reality show called Play to Win. and she had never shared her story with anybody. And she, something about the magic of our show, she opened up and she shared that she had been a victim of physical abuse, of sexual abuse, of trafficking. And, you know, that's, you know, never want to hear that kind of story, right? And, you know, after loving on her, you know, condolences and, you know, giving her love, I told her, look, you could really help a lot of people that may
Yeah.
be very depressed, that may be suicidal, that, you know, you could really help a lot of people if you were willing to be vulnerable and share that story more. 2 weeks later, she was speaking at women's abuse centers. 2 months, or maybe 3 months ago now, 3 months ago, she spoke, and she had never done a video. She'd never publicly spoke. She had never shared her story. 2 or 3 months ago, she spoke at the 19th annual International Conference Against Human Trafficking by the University of Toledo and shared her story in front of 17 other countries. And so that
Wow.
was within a year, year and a half. And so if you've been through some stuff, you can really impact a lot of people. You can really get your message out there and your story out there by just focusing on who do you want to become? How do you want to make a difference?
I
And
like that. I
how do you
like
want to live a
it because
powerful
I
life?
think that when life challenges you, that the negative thoughts in our mind try to say you're going to only make a minimum impact. Your impact's only going to be in this vicinity.
Right.
But sometimes it's the very weakness that you faced that becomes your maximum impact. And that's
Right.
what's happened, Ray, in your life,
Yeah.
of you going through challenges in life. You decided to get up, not sit or settle in your setback, but you got up. And now you're doing all these wonderful things with a wonderful wife, wonderful kids. And I like how you're talking today because we all have faults, flaws, and failures.
Yeah.
But it's time to rise up and make big impact, okay? Last time, hold that book up.
Yeah.
Because I know how to sell things, Ray. And so
I like it. I like it. I
so
appreciate
make sure, let's get this book and get this book for somebody else. A lot of you have a son or a daughter that needs this kind of thing, or a husband or wife. And so give somebody else a life lift. Get Ray Higdon's new book, and that'll help change your life. So Ray, will you take about 2 minutes and help me? We're doing a seminar tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
And I'm doing it on having the right mindset.
Yeah.
About having the right mindset in the midst of difficulty. And you could find out more just by going to my Instagram or Insta stories. You see everything there because you're on mine. So
Sure.
You'll see all the information. Ray, why should they be with Tim Storey tonight as I teach them on how to have the right mindset?
Yeah. You know, you've probably heard the phrase of, you're the average of the five closest people to you. Well, it's not, especially nowadays, it's not just who's in the vicinity of you, it's what voices are you putting in.
Wow.
And so right now there's a lot of people that their voices are the media or politicians or divisive things that are geared to us give up power and be in fear. And so you have to inject power into you because you're the individual that can change the world. And you have to have positivity in there. So one of the voices that absolutely should be in there is this guy right here.
Hey, that was a good commercial.
Not bad, right?
Ray Higdon, you know I appreciate you, man. You're real.
Thank you so much.
You're good. And I look forward to going to lunch with you soon.
Definitely, man. I would love that.
So
I would love
make
that.
sure to get Ray's book, and all the information is going to be there. And let people know about his book, and let's make it an even better bestseller. It's already a bestseller. Let's make it a better bestseller. All right, Ray, thanks for being on today.
Thanks
all right,
so
guys,
much.
life is good, and I will see you guys tonight at 6 p.m. We're going to have some amazing guests. And Ray Higdon, one more time, thank you for being a part of this great time this afternoon. God bless you.